Today, I want to tell you about my experience of the 2023 Valencia Marathon. I'm just back from sunny Spain to -5 here in the UK, so it's a bit of a shock to the system. I had an absolutely fantastic time. I want to tell you my experience, let you know a bit more about the race and kind of the logistics of the whole thing. So I ended up in Spain because a friend of mine had done the Valencia Marathon before and recommended it to me as a fast and flat marathon, a marathon that was very accessible from the UK via cheap flights, and a chance to get a bit of summer sun when it was snowing here the day that I went to Spain. So I booked up around this time last year, December last year. One of the brilliant things about the Valencia Marathon compared to most of the races that I've done recently is there was no ballot. I just had to hit the website early enough and I could get myself a place, no problem at all. I booked a flight with Ryanair from Newcastle to Barcelona, which cost me £90 return. And from Barcelona, I traveled down to Valencia on the train, which I think was about £40 each way. So, all in all, you're talking about perhaps £170 to travel from where I am in the north of England to Valencia, which I think it's not too far off what I end up paying to travel from Newcastle 3.5 hours to London for the London Marathon earlier this year. So it seemed pretty reasonable to me. The travel, despite the snow, was all fine. I got to Valencia on the Friday before the race, late in the day, headed to bed, and was up early in the morning to go to the expo to pick up my now rather crushed number. The expo, I got there about 8:45. There was a queue outside, but we were in, and I picked up my number within a couple of minutes. Then on to the New Balance shop. Like a lot of big races, you picked up your number and then went into the store where they had all the branded merchandise. I made a kind of an error, and when I picked the marathon to do last December, I picked a medium running shirt, which was too small for me. So the shop gave me a chance to get a large running shirt, which actually fit me, get a nice Valencia jacket, which I'd need for running in the winter, honestly. And then there were a few other shops within the exhibition center, picked up some new running socks as well. There was not loads to see. I think I probably spent about half an hour in the expo. But yeah, very smooth. No queuing really, compared to every other race I've done this year. I just found it a breeze to get through. The one thing was that the expo was about 40 minutes from the start area, which was where I was staying. So for the rest of the day, I had a pretty relaxed day. I just tried to do some carb loading, try to not walk too much. I did wander down to the start area, and it is just spectacular. They had this blue carpet laid out. There were lots of people there taking pictures. It was a beautiful sunny day, and as I say, having had snow in Newcastle just before I left, it just felt brilliant to be in this nice warm place. My hotel, which was pretty close to the start line, was packed with runners, and so they did a runners dinner, which I think I paid about £20 for, and that was a buffet where I could get some pasta, get some bread rolls, yeah, just kind of carb load a bit. I did that at about 7 o'clock, and then to bed for 8 and out until 4 a.m. So this is something I've been doing in my races this year, getting up early to give myself a chance to have some food and digest that food before the race. So the race for elite runners start at 8:15. Getting up at 4 a.m. allowed me to quickly eat some food, and then just chill and make sure that I was ready for the race. I have never done Valencia before, so I didn't know how long I needed to kind of leave it when before going to the start area. I messaged friends who'd done it before, and they told me, it's not like a big American marathon, not like a London marathon where you have security to go through. So I was kind of looking at my hotel window to see if there was any sign of people moving. I decided at 7 a.m. I would head across to the start and just kind of follow the crowd and work out where to go. And the thing that struck me was lots of runners were sat in cafes. McDonald's was full of runners. Lots of people heading for bag check. But when I got to my corral, there was about 5 people there. So I think I timed it a bit early. The way that Valencia works is you have corrals, and each corral has its own start time. So I was in the corral for people that expected to run over 3:15, I think 3:15 to 3:25, something like that, 3:15 to 3:30. And we were the fourth corral to set off. And I think that shows just how fast some people in this marathon are. I think I saw a statistic that said over 17% of people would be under 3 hours. So the elite start was 8:15. I think by the time they got to start 4, for me, it was 8:45. By that time, the corral had filled up. It had filled up, and there were no urinals in the corral, so people were like weeing all over clothes at the side. A real mess for someone to clean up. The start, you go across this bridge, and it's just an amazing experience. The sun had just come up. The sun was low in the sky. The light was beautiful, and you run across this bridge in sync with everyone around you. It was just a really amazing experience. I planned to do the race in 3:20, so I had a pace in mind. And again, something that I've done this year is just trying to stay within the mile, or in this case, in the kilometer. And I knew I needed to stay under 4:44 or around 4:44 to accomplish that pace. And I just kind of stuck with it for at least the first 20 miles. There were a good number of water stations. I didn't feel like I was looking for a water station at all. And I used those water stations to fuel. So have some water and have one of my molten gels. I think that's something that I've really managed to nail this year, fueling well and taking my gel with some water. I was just in a really good pace. Really nice race. It was pretty busy to start with, but when we got to about 10 miles, you start to feel like you had a bit more room, people spread out a bit more. As I say, my personal race, up until about 20 miles, everything was on for 3:20. And then I started to slow a bit. I didn't hit the wall, just I don't know, not enough fast training. I feel like I've come away from this with some clear things that I want to improve: more gym work, more fast workouts to get over that last 6 miles. But I was still pretty pleased. As you get towards the end, those final 6 miles, the crowds start to build. A lot more people. I think because I've done lots of big marathons this year, done London, done Chicago. There were parts of Valencia where there weren't people, there weren't crowds. But when you're getting towards the finish, it did feel a lot more like a big city marathon. A lot of people there cheering you on. The final 3 miles I could remember from looking at the course were supposedly a bit downhill. I really felt it, but just the atmosphere was great. And then you come back towards the finish line near where you started. You go down onto this blue carpet with these futuristic buildings around you, and I just knew, I had a time that I was happy with. Got across that line, and you get hit by that rush of emotion. There's nothing like it. And I mean, really, this is probably the most spectacular finish line I've ever seen. as I say, I did London earlier this year, and running next to Buckingham Palace is good, but no, perhaps because I'm not from Valencia and it was all new to me, it was just really special. And I wasn't alone. There were people around me crossing the finishing line crying, everyone saying well done to each other. And then we got our medals. Yeah, I mean, I was really just thinking that I've had such amazing running experiences this year. I'm so grateful to be able to run and to have this kind of experience. Valencia was just amazing. I've been on my running club's Facebook group today telling everyone you need to go and do this race. Entry comes out in the next week. It's, everything that my friend said it would be. It's fast, flat. I got a PB for the year. It's easy to get to from the UK. Beautiful, sunny place. Not like, just the temperature was just right. It wasn't too hot. Yeah, brilliant. If you get the chance, do Valencia Marathon. It's an awesome race. And I just know that you'll have a fantastic experience like I did. So, yeah.